You know that feeling, right? It's maybe 9 a.m., your laptop's open, that really big, important task is just sitting there staring at you. But somehow, your eyes keep flicking over to your phone, or maybe you suddenly decide it's vital to reorganize your desk again.
Oh, yeah. And that to-do list, it just feels huge, like this massive weight.
Exactly. And the really crucial work, the stuff that actually moves things forward, it keeps getting shoved to tomorrow or the next day.
It's this cycle, isn't it? Overwhelm, procrastination.
Yeah.
And the task that you know should be number one.
Yeah.
That's the one you dodge the most.
Which just makes the stress worse, ironically.
Totally.
Well, if that sounds familiar, if you've been stuck in that loop, you're definitely in the right place for this deep dive. Our mission today, basically, is to cut through all that noise. We want to pull out the most powerful nuggets of wisdom from a source that really promises to help shift that pattern.
We're diving into Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog. It's incredibly impactful. And don't let that quirky title, throw you off. It's not about amphibian cuisine. No. This book offers what a lot of people think is maybe the simplest, but also the most powerful time management technique out there.
And that core idea, the metaphor, it's pretty memorable, isn't it? Eat a live frog first thing in the morning.
It sticks with you.
So what does Tracy actually mean by your frog?
Your frog is that one task. The single most important, probably the most difficult one you have on your plate. It's the thing you're most likely to put off.
Yeah.
But here's the twist. It's also the task that if you actually did it, could make the biggest positive difference. It could genuinely transform your day, maybe even your whole career path.
Okay, so the core message is pretty direct then.
Super direct.
Yeah.
Elegantly blunt, really. Every day, eat your frog first. Just tackle the toughest, highest impact thing right away. No messing around.
And the payoff.
The payoff is huge.
Yeah.
Once that metaphorical frog is dealt with, the rest of the day just feels lighter, easier. That psychological weight lifts, and you kind of get this momentum going.
Let's talk about Rahul, because his story really brings this to life, doesn't it?
Yeah, perfect example. He had this client presentation, a really crucial one,
Right.
and he'd been putting it off for 5 days straight. Just the thought of it was kind of paralyzing him.
In there.
Right. So finally, he decides, okay, this is my frog. So one morning, 9 a.m., he sits down, laptop open. But this time, phone silence, off in another room, notifications, all off. And for 2 solid hours, he worked only on that presentation, nothing else.
And what happened?
The result was, transformative for him. The second it was done, he felt this huge wave of relief, achievement. He actually thought to himself, the whole day is mine now.
Wow.
And that feeling wasn't just like a quick buzz. It set this really positive, powerful tone for everything else he did that day.
That's the real power, isn't it? That immediate hit of, I did it. That feeling of control and just deep satisfaction from doing the hard thing first. So now we're going to dig into 10 of the most effective lessons from Eat That Frog. We won't just list them, though. We want to explore why they work and how you can actually use them to make your own life a bit easier.
Sounds good. And the very first one, the foundation Tracy lays down, is all about having clear goals.
Okay, so clear goals. If we're serious about actually eating this frog, where do we start? Tracy seems to think this is absolutely step one, almost like a prerequisite. Why is clarity so foundational?
Well, it's about getting rid of the fuzziness, the ambiguity. That ambiguity is a huge energy suck, A lot of procrastination happens simply because we don't know exactly what done looks like for the task, or maybe we don't even fully grasp what the task involves.
Right, so your brain spins its wheels just trying to figure out what to do instead of actually doing it.
Exactly. So Tracy insists, write your goals down, be specific, then break them down into smaller, actionable steps, and crucially, work on them every single day. It really helps clarify which task is your frog for the day.
So it's not just having a vague goal, it's making it super concrete, so concrete that your brain doesn't really have an excuse to wander off.
You got it. And once those goals are crystal clear, that leads right into Tracy's second lesson. Plan your next day the night before.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you've identified the frog using clear goals. What's the next practical step to actually get started on it? Planning the night before seems simple, maybe overlooked. Why is that so key for building momentum?
It's like winning the battle before the day even starts. Seriously. When you wake up and you already have a plan, a prioritized list waiting for you, you bypass all that morning decision fatigue.
What should I tackle first?
Feeling. Exactly. Your brain doesn't have to wrestle with that. Think about Rahul again. He now spends just 10 minutes every evening listing out his tasks for the next day, and he numbers them by priority. It's a simple habit, but it means zero morning confusion. He just gets up and executes.
It's like you're preloading your willpower, deciding what's important when you're maybe clearer-headed the night before, instead of stumbling into the morning rush without a map.
That's a great way to put it. And tying into that focus on what really matters, Tracy brings up a principle most of us have heard of, but maybe don't apply consistently enough: the 80-20 rule.
The Pareto principle, right. Okay, so you've planned your list the night before. How does the 80-20 rule specifically help you pick which frog to eat from that list? There might be several important things.
Yeah, that's where it's vital. The 80-20 rule forces you to differentiate between just being busy and being effective. It says basically that 20% of your activities will likely produce 80% of your results.
So find that critical 20%.
Precisely. Rahul, for example, he used to just, pick the easiest task first sometimes, just to feel like he was doing something. Now he looks at his list each morning and asks himself, okay, which one of these tasks, if I nail it today, will have the biggest positive impact on my main goals? That task, that's his frog.
So it's not about ticking off the most boxes, it's about ticking off the right boxes. Sounds like a really powerful filter for that potentially overwhelming to-do list.
Absolutely. And building right on that, the fourth lesson Tracy gives us is a practical tool called the ABCDE technique.
Okay, ABCDE. This sounds like a really smart prioritization method, but how do you actually use it effectively? How do you make sure you're picking the real A tasks, the frogs, and not just getting bogged down in B's and C's because they feel easier?
Well, the technique is designed specifically to create that hierarchy. It forces you to think about urgency and importance. A tasks are your absolute non-negotiables, your frogs. You must do these today. B tasks are things you should do, but the consequences of delaying them are kind of minor. C tasks are things that would be nice to do, but no real consequence if they don't happen.
Okay.
D tasks are for delegating, can someone else do this? And E tasks, you can probably eliminate them altogether. They're not moving the needle.
Right.
The real discipline, as you hinted, comes in only starting with your A tasks, or really your A1 task, your biggest frog. The temptation is always there to knock off a quick C or B task.
Yeah, get that little dopamine hit of crossing something off the list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a false sense of accomplishment if it's not your main priority.
Yeah.
Tracy's clear. If it's not an A, it's not your frog. Don't start it until the A's are done.
So it's a tool for ruthless self-discipline, making sure you're always investing your energy in the highest value work first.
That's the idea. And to help cement that discipline, Tracy then introduces lesson number 5. Consequence-based thinking.
Consequence-based thinking.
Yeah.
And this sounds like it taps into some deeper psychology. How does just asking, what happens if I do this, or if I don't do this, actually help us push past that inertia, that urge to procrastinate?
It's about shifting your focus.
Yeah.
See, our brains are kind of wired to avoid immediate discomfort or pain.
Right.
And starting a big, tough fraud task can feel uncomfortable.
Definitely.
But when you consciously force yourself to think about the long-term benefits of getting it done, the positive outcomes, or conversely, the negative consequences of not doing it, you create this powerful internal motivation. It makes the why behind the task much, much clearer and stronger. Strong enough, hopefully, to override that feeling of, I really don't want to.
So you connect with the future result.
Yeah. Rahul, for instance, he now actively visualizes, say, the positive feedback from the client after nailing that presentation he used to put off. Or he thinks about the missed opportunity, the potential negative fallout if he doesn't deliver. It reframes the task.
It's like flipping the script on our brain's natural tendency to just focus on the immediate effort involved. Instead, you're focusing on the payoff, or maybe the potential pain of inaction.
Precisely. Okay, so once we've identified the frog, we understand why it's important using consequence thinking. The 6th lesson helps us actually commit the time to get it done. Time blocking and deadlines.
Time blocking and deadlines. Okay, for someone who maybe struggles with focus distractions or everywhere, how do these structures really help lock in that commitment to eating the frog?
They basically inject urgency and focus where there might not be any otherwise. You know the saying, work expands to fill the time available?
Parkinson's law, yeah.
Right. And without a deadline or a dedicated time slot, many important tasks just drift. They get pushed back indefinitely. So by time blocking, you're literally scheduling an appointment with your frog. You put it in your calendar, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., work on Project X presentation only.
You treat it like a meeting you can't miss.
Exactly. And setting deadlines, even self-imposed ones, creates pressure. Rahul found this really helpful. He'd set a timer, maybe for an hour, and tell himself, okay, I'm going to finish this section in this hour. That little bit of pressure helped him focus and push forward. Deadlines aren't just for bosses or clients. They're super powerful self-management tools.
So you're not just kind of hoping you'll find time for the frog. You're actively carving out a specific container for it, forcing yourself to concentrate within those boundaries.
Yes, exactly. Which leads perfectly into the 7th lesson, something that's maybe more relevant now than ever in our, super connected world. Make technology your servant, not your master.
The digital distraction beast. How does Brian Tracy's advice tackle that specific challenge when we're trying to focus on our frog? Because phones and notifications are major frog avoidance tools for many of us.
Oh, absolutely. Technology is amazing. It's a powerful tool, but it's also probably the #1 procrastination enabler, right? Think about Rahul again. His old habit was checking Instagram, like every 5 minutes, constantly breaking his focus.
That's familiar.
Tracy's point is simple but crucial. You have to be intentional. You have to be proactive about managing it. Put the phone in another room entirely. Use website blockers or focus apps if you need to. Turn off all non-essential notifications, email pop-ups, social media alerts, the works. It's about consciously designing your environment so that focus is the easy default state, not this constant uphill battle against digital pings and buzzes. Technology should help you eat the frog, not constantly interrupt the meal.
It sounds like taking deliberate steps to guard your most precious resource, which is your attention. Because if your attention is just scattered everywhere, that frog is definitely not getting eaten.
Couldn't agree more. And for our 8th lesson, Tracy hits on something that trips up a lot of people. Action over perfection.
Okay, this one really hits home. So many of us get stuck wanting everything to be absolutely perfect before we even start, right? Which often means we never start. What's the core mental block Tracy's trying to help us overcome here?
It's exactly that, the paralysis of perfectionism.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the biggest enemies of actually eating the frog. So many people think, oh, I can't start writing that report until I have the perfect opening line, or I can't launch the website until every single pixel is flawless.
And then it just never happens.
Exactly. Tracy's advice is incredibly wise here. Start now, fix later. The main goal is just to get the task started, get some momentum going, even if the first draft, the first attempt, is messy or imperfect. Rahul used to drive himself crazy trying to craft that perfect opening slide for his presentation. Now, he just starts putting ideas down, knowing he can always polish and refine it later. Getting started breaks that huge psychological barrier of the task feeling overwhelming. It's often more than half the battle.
It's about choosing good enough to get to done, instead of letting perfect become the enemy of done or even started. That's a really crucial mindset shift.
It really is. And speaking of mindset, that brings us to the 9th lesson, which focuses on self-motivation.
Self-motivation.
Okay.
So you're facing this big, ugly frog. Maybe it's a Monday morning. Motivation is low. How does Brian Tracy suggest we actually cultivate that inner drive to tackle it anyway?
This is where your internal dialogue, your self-talk, becomes really critical. Tracy is a big proponent of using positive affirmations and visualization.
Okay, affirmations. Does that really work?
Well, think about it this way. If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm such a procrastinator, I hate this task, what's likely to happen?
You'll probably procrastinate.
Right. So Tracy suggests flipping the script. Raul, for instance, he started repeating things to himself every morning like, I am focused, I am hardworking, I tackle my important tasks first, I have eaten my frog. Now, this isn't just like wishful thinking. It's about actively conditioning your mind, building up that belief in yourself, that self-efficacy. It helps counteract all that negative self-talk that usually fuels procrastination. By talking to yourself in a more empowering way, you're basically priming your brain for action.
So it's not just about willpower and gritting your teeth, it's also about actively reshaping your internal story to support what you want to achieve.
Exactly right. And finally, our 10th lesson. For those really enormous frogs, the ones that feel just impossible to swallow in one go, Tracy offers a very practical strategy, breaking down big tasks into smaller parts.
This sounds simple, almost obvious maybe, but what's the real genius behind breaking things down? Why is that so effective?
The sheer size of a task can be incredibly intimidating. Just looking at the whole mountain can make you want to turn around and go back to bed. It triggers immediate avoidance.
Yeah, the overwhelm factor.
Precisely. So Tracy's advice here is quite vivid. If you can't eat the whole frog at once, cut off its head first. Or maybe slice off a leg.
Okay.
What he means is, take that huge, daunting task, let's say, writing a whole book, and divide it into tiny, manageable, bite-sized pieces. So not write book, but outline chapter 1, then maybe. Write section 1 of chapter 1, then. Write first paragraph of section 1. Each of those tiny pieces becomes like a mini frog, something you can actually tackle relatively quickly.
And finishing those small bits gives you momentum.
Exactly. You get a little win, build confidence, and it reduces the perceived difficulty of the overall project. It's all about making that very first step so small, so unintimidating, that it feels almost impossible not to do it.
That's brilliant, actually. It makes the huge mountain feel more like a series of small, climbable hills, much less scary. Wow, what an incredible deep dive into Eat That Frog. It really does seem to boil down to this powerful core idea. Consistently tackle your most important, maybe your most dreaded task first thing every single day. And just doing that one thing unlocks this amazing sense of achievement, control, and satisfaction that just kind of flows through the rest of your day.
Absolutely. And Rahul's story really shows the long-term impact, doesn't it? By sticking with these principles, he genuinely broke his procrastination habit. He's getting his critical work done. He actually got promoted. And maybe the biggest win, he just feels less stressed, more peace of mind because he knows his priorities are being handled.
That's huge. So as you're listening to this, reflecting on everything we've talked about, we have a really important question for you. What's your frog? Right now, what's that one task you've been putting off? The one that feels important, maybe a bit heavy, and it's just kind of lurking there in the back of your mind.
Identify it. And then the challenge, and really the beautifully simple advice from Brian Tracy is this. The very next morning you wake up, just do it. Finish it. That's the magic, isn't it? The magic of Eat That Frog. It's got this small, kind of funny name, but the impact it can have, it's immense.
Yeah.
Potentially life-changing.
So every day, find your frog, eat that frog, and just watch how much easier life starts to feel.